For we will fight to the last Ambazonia.
The better fight, man. The better bloody fight. No liberties gained by laying down and allowing people to work on you.
When the people will rise, even if you took the whole of the French army and added to yours, you will never bring them down.
We are being killed daily for who we are, and the post-Rwanda world is watching with tight lips and tight hands. We say no. No to those favoring French Cameroon to continue recolonizing southern Cameroons. No. No to those killing us for the rebranding of a political ideology. No to those torturing our people for the gratification of their vampire instincts. No. No to those looting Ambazonia for the economic privileges of colonial bounty houses in Europe. No.
For we will fight to the last Ambazonia.
The better fight, man. The better bloody fight. No liberties gained by laying down and allowing people to work on you.
When the people will rise, even if you took the whole of the French army and added to yours, you will never bring them down.
We are being killed daily for who we are, and the post-Rwanda world is watching with tight lips and tight hands. We say no. No to those favoring French Cameroon to continue recolonizing southern Cameroons. No. No to those killing us for the rebranding of a political ideology. No to those torturing our people for the gratification of their vampire instincts. No. No to those looting Ambazonia for the economic privileges of colonial bounty houses in Europe. No.
Our vision in this interim government is to make ABC a leader and a real war horse of our struggle. We want to grow it, expand it, hire and train more hands, and broadcast round the clock, around the world, and take command of the media space of this world.
You can enjoy all round the clock 24/7 exclusive moments of bliss as an ABC Amber TV Club member. A cappella. Latest Nigerian/African movies, global politics, ABC Amber News and updates, historical documentaries, and lots more. In our daily programs, we have Undaunted, ABC Amber News, bringing into the news untold stories with Onyi Okpala and Star Smart. Exclusive discussion, revolutionary panel conversation, infotainment, edutainment, intro governmental debates on topical issues with Tar Paddy King, State of the Liberation Movement, Fronting IG and People of Ambazonia's position, the Struggles Weekly Update with Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD, FASC, Health is Wealth, Health Education and Awareness within the Ambazonian community with Dr. Yaya, Liberation Prayer, an intercessory ministry for Ambazonia with Pastor Victor Mba, Our Freedom, spiritual awareness and education for the Ambazonian community with Pastor Victor Mba and Pastor Commando, Church and Politics, neutralizing the myths and preconceived religious and political philosophies that limit the Christian involvement in the realms of decent politics with Pastor Commando, The Horizon, the voice of the Ambazonian woman with Dr. Patience Abiedo and Lady Casey, Our Amber History, bringing to limelight the hidden history of Ambazonia to the world with Pastor Commando, Appointment on community building, education on patriotism within the Ambazonian communities with Ma Rachel Itatima, Ethics for an Imagined Nation, watchdog of basic principles and morals of a nation at war with Ma Dorothy Mungwa. Upcoming programs: Pigeon News, Vernacular Talk Show, County Roots, Activists Corner, Amber Focus, only on ABC Amber Television. We the people, the voice of the voiceless. For 24/7 access, subscribe as a club member on www.abcambertv.com/subscribe. The piece of cloth made in Ambazonia, a land brimming with history, courage, and the indomitable spirit of its people, a profound reflection of Ambazonia's collective identity and our unyielding struggle for freedom.
A full representation of who we are, what we are, the history, story, and the struggle. It's a piece of cloth you should have in your closet. It is woven into a rich tapestry of cultural heritage, traditions, and long-standing desire for self-determination. Proudly adorned with unique patterns and symbolizes unity in the Ambazonian people.
The cloth's patterns and colors mirror the courage and hope that fueled their aspirations for a brighter future. Each thread represented a story of bravery, sacrifice, and the unwavering commitment to justice.
The piece of cloth made in Ambazonia became more than just a garment. It transformed into a symbol of a call for recognition, worn proudly by Ambazonians and their allies worldwide. It carried a message: we exist and we deserve to be heard. As long as the cloth adorns chests and shoulders, the spirit of Ambazonia lives on, and the hope for a free and united land remains alive. The piece of cloth made in Ambazonia, a land brimming with history, courage, and the indomitable spirit of its people, a profound reflection of Ambazonia's collective identity and our unyielding struggle for freedom.
A full representation of who we are, what we are, the history, story, and the struggle. It's a piece of cloth you should have in your closet. It is woven into a rich tapestry of cultural heritage, traditions, and long-standing desire for self-determination. Proudly adorned with unique patterns and symbolizes unity in the Ambazonian people.
The cloth's patterns and colors mirror the courage and hope that fueled their aspirations for a brighter future. Each thread represented a story of bravery, sacrifice, and the unwavering commitment to justice.
The piece of cloth made in Ambazonia became more than just a garment. It transformed into a symbol of a call for recognition, worn proudly by Ambazonians and their allies worldwide. It carried a message: we exist and we deserve to be heard. As long as the cloth adorns chests and shoulders, the spirit of Ambazonia lives on, and the hope for a free and united land remains alive. The piece of cloth made in Ambazonia.
Good evening and welcome. This evening, we are not having another talk show. It's not another talk program. You're having the Secretary of State for Communications and IT, Dr. Martin Mungwa. We'll be having an in-depth conversation with the President. Like I said, it's not another talk show. We're going to have a discussion that will expand or extend on policy, diplomacy, the war on the ground, and Ambazonia's competence or ability to win this war in due time. A lot of Ambazonians have concerns. The Secretary of State has been able to scan through fora, home and abroad, to get some of these concerns. He will be tabling them tonight to the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, President Sako. I won't waste even 1 minute of your time, and I will immediately be transitioning to the office of the Secretary of State. Good evening and welcome.
Yeah, good evening, Paddy. Thank you. I just want to make sure that the President is ready so that I can start this discussion. Can you please confirm that? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, the President is already waiting.
Okay, good. Good afternoon, good evening, Ambazonians in the international community. Today is another day we'll have a discussion on Ambazonian issues with the President, Dr. Samuel Sako. Today's topic I'm going to talk about first is the Ambazonian Revolution, the progress we have made this far. Dear Ambazonians and the international community, we extend a 21-gun salute to our valiant restoration forces. We were in a tipping best moment in 2021 when we got credible intelligence that La République du Cameroon was contemplating throwing in the towel and meeting us at the negotiation table. Unbeknown to us, the coup plotters came in and encouraged them to hold back. It took this IG over 6 months to get back on track. The lead coup plotter, the former communications secretary, was replaced alongside others who went with him. A new modus operandi was refashioned for the communications department, ABC Amber TV, and the interim government. Gradually, we picked up speed and hit the road running. Today, ABC Amber TV and IG are waxing stronger. Proof of this, the colonial mayor of Mbengui, like others, lamented that ABC Amber TV was brainwashing the people within his municipality, etc. As one man of God used to say, better is not good enough. The best is yet to come. We will keep improving as the days go by until we reach Boya. During the president's end of year speech, he promised Amazonians that 2023 will be a year of acceleration. Everyone can testify to this. Hitherto, counties like Kupe Manunguba, Menchum, Meme, etc., have been in the news recently. La République du Cameroon military strategists were heard complaining that they thought it was over. Normalcy was returning, but things are happening all over against their expectations. More will come as we begin the county and LGA draft war. We urge and implore all Amazonians to draft their counties and redeem their federal government draft pledges if they have not yet done so. Only ground action will bring the enemy to the table. Fellow Amazonians, we all learnt of the passing into eternity of John Frundi. No one would deny his courage in leading the Social Democratic Front that was founded to redress the Southern Cameroon's problem. Unfortunately for the late chairman, during his years at the helm, he used the party overtly against the Southern Cameroon's cause. We won't forget that he recently urged Biya to instruct the White House to arrest the Amazonian leaders to be renditioned in Cameroon, and as he put it, to face the full arm of the law. This line of thinking is shocking to have come from a man who carried himself as the representative of the people of Southern Cameroons. Further, he ought to have known that the United States of America or European countries are not banana republics like La République du Cameroon, where the rule of law is non-existent. The late chairman did not just end at advising La République du Cameroon to abduct our leaders, but also that if extradition fails, the Biya junta should go after our leaders' family members. Worst of all, the late chairman celebrated the abduction of our leaders in Nigeria and their extraordinary rendition to Cameroon. How could a man whom the people protected with their bare bodies turn against the very people? History should remember him as a man who joined enemy forces to slaughter the same people who had protected him. To the people of Amazonia, John Frundi does not deserve the honors of a hero, dead or alive. Those who plan to honor his corpse as such are provoking the victims and the families of the 50,000 plus who have been killed by his associate, Paul Biya, in Etudi. We must not allow his remains to be exploited by our oppressors, La République du Cameroon, in a propaganda show to deceive stakeholders that normalcy has returned in Amazonia, or that Amazonians are mourning a one Cameroon hero. We will not be deceived. Ahmadou Ahidjo, who fought for La République du Cameroon independence, reigned for over 2 decades as head of state, and gave Paul Biya power on a golden platter, was never given a burial, let alone heroic, in his hometown Garwa. Therefore, La République du Cameroon's sudden attraction to the mortal remains of Nijon Frundi, to be clothed in green, red, and yellow and paraded in the streets of Baba too, raises suspicion and reeks of desperation. The interim government has therefore declared that the corpse of Frundi, persona non grata, in Amazonia. We call on our ARF from all 13 counties to work actively for a total boycott of any funeral ceremony in honor of this traitor. The IG hereby declares Thursday, July 27th through Saturday, July 29th, a complete lockdown of Amazonia. We reserve the right to make adjustment if we suspect any attempt by the colonizers or by the organizers to bypass our announced date. Anyone who violates this lockdown will surely incur the wrath of the people who consider this politicized funeral a provocation. Fellow Amazonians, despite the challenges we had faced with coup plotters, blacklegs, and fifth columnists, we are waxing stronger. The IG is at its finest moment now as we strive to maintain the momentum on the home front. We fought extra hard and killed the referendum project engineered by La République du Cameroon to kill our full restoration project using coup plotters as their marketing agents. We have brought a majority of the ARF together, and we won't relent in making sure that more and more come on board. When we are together, we are stronger. The devastating popcorn detonated in Bamising a few days ago has sent a chill up the spine of La République du Cameroon. They thought Ngokitunja was going to be the country where normalcy was fast returning. We countered that diabolic genocidal plan there. We are always a step ahead of them. On the controversial notion of unity and collaboration, we want to reiterate to Amazonians that we are at war. What we need is more logistics to win the war. In line with this, we urge and implore well-meaning Amazonians to join the counties and LGAs to get so we can get the job done sooner than later. Furthermore, and we have said this before, Amazonia is not an ethnic group or regions in La République du Cameroon. We were a self-governing entity from 1954 to 1968 when Amadou Ahidjo forcefully dissolved our government led by Prime Minister Augustin Ngomjua. Fast forward to 2017, we restored that government. It's on this basis that the IG exists and is ready to meet La République du Cameroon on the table as two countries of equal status as espoused by United Nations General Assembly Resolution 1608 of April 21st, 1961. We cannot afford to reduce our country that has an international personality into a group or like opposition parties in La République du Cameroon. We know we have defeated La République du Cameroon. This continuous massacre of our people is proof of their desperation. If you can defeat our forces in the battleground, why then do you massacre our innocent civilians, burning our villages and settlements, thus inflicting so much pain on our peaceful population? This is the mindset of a defeated and frustrated army, La République du Cameroon. The genocidal and scorched earth mindset. Most recent are the massacres and atrocities in Boyo, Kejumkeku, Big Babanki, and Ikona. Our people should remain eternally vigilant and be careful as they go about their daily activities. Once there is a confrontation between the enemy and the ARF, let our people move to safe areas to avoid massacres like those we mentioned above. Times are tough and rough, but we will triumph. And to our traditional rulers, they should know that they are the custodians of our traditional values. They are not politicians. Whether Cameroon is divided or not is none of their business. We should avoid being used by the CPDM, our cultic elite, to kill our people. Our villages existed before Cameroon became an entity. These days, citizenship is also by choice. If they have chosen Cameroon over Amazonia, no qualms. In other words, if they love Cameroon more than they love their people, Then they can move to Yaoundé and settle there. In the face of all this, I implore Amazonians to remain resilient as we have always been. We are not leaving any stone unturned, both at home, at the home front, and in the diaspora. We need all Amazonians and well wishers to join hands to draw this revolution to a close sooner so we can all be in Boya. Viva Amazonia. May God bless our beautiful country. Over to you, Paddy.
Land brimming with history, courage, and the indomitable spirit of its people. The piece of cloth made in Amazonia. A land brimming with history, courage, and the indomitable spirit of its people. A profound reflection of Amazonia's collective identity and our unyielding struggle for freedom.
A full representation of who we are, what we are, the history, story, and the struggle. It's a piece of cloth you should have in your closet. It is woven into a rich tapestry of cultural heritage, traditions, and long-standing desire for self-determination. Proudly adorned with unique patterns and symbolizes unity in the Amazonian people.
The cloth's patterns and colors mirror the courage and hope that fueled their aspirations for a brighter future. Each thread represented a story of bravery, sacrifice, and the unwavering commitment to justice.
The piece of cloth made in Amazonia became more than just a garment. It transformed into a symbol of a call for recognition, worn proudly by Amazonians and their allies worldwide. It carried a message: we exist and we deserve to be heard. As long as the cloth adorns chests and shoulders, the spirit of Amazonia lives on, and the hope for a free and
Once again, good day, Amazonians, and I'm here with the president to answer a few questions regarding the Amazonian Revolution, the progress we have made this far. Good evening, Mr. President.
Good evening, Dr. Martin Mungwa, our indefatigable Secretary of State for Communication. Thank you for having me here today for the second time. And
Well,
good
it's my
evening
great
to the
pleasure to.
people of Amazonia for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. And without wasting any moment, I'm going to start with some questions that I put together, and I hope the answers to the question will bring more light to a lot of things that people may be thinking about. My first question to you, Mr. President, is some people feel that the late John Frundi is a hero, irrespective of what he did. For example, many sympathizers consider him as the man who brought true democracy to La République du Cameroon and the Francophone world. Why is the interim government taking such a stand? Do you have anything else to say?
Thank you very much for that first question. If John Frundi is heralded as the one who brought democracy to Cameroon, the question I will first ask is, where is the democracy that he brought? Where is it? Let's show me what he brought that he should be credited for. So that is total nonsense. If what we have today in French Cameroon is what he brought, then he is not worthy of celebration. So that's a mistake. Let's give somebody glory based on the value of what he brought and how it has changed the lives of people. Reagan said that the easiest campaign to do is to ask the people, how are your life different for 4 years? How are you different? Is there any difference? Are your lives different after 4 years?
What is the difference? So show me the difference in the lives of the people in the system that you call democratic or democracy, that it is today different from what it was. That is, if you find any difference, then that's what it should be credited for. Listen, let me digress. Heroes are not born. So no one is a hero because of how he was born. Come one, maybe by the time you die, and in the manner that you die, you can become one. Heroes are made. That is why monuments are not raised for the living, they are raised for the dead, because we have a chance to go through their lives, history, and find out what they did, what they started doing, what they continued to do, and what they ended doing. The end of a thing is more important than the beginning. It doesn't matter what great ideas you start life with, what great ideas you propounded, how you finish, and how you finish them is how you will be remembered. We will not celebrate those who tried to kill us just because they failed. We will not celebrate those who tried to kill us and just because at the end they failed and we triumphed. That is exactly what Nijon Frundi did. He came up and building on the hopes of the southern Cameroonians, and that we wanted a means of canalizing our demands and fighting for our cause and making our voices heard. And we put ourselves together behind this force. And he became the poster boy. Instead of him to drive that agenda, he saw it as an opportunity to become the president of another Cameroon. And he failed. And when he discovered he did not succeed, and he has lost the trust of the constituency behind him, he decided to become the number one person to legitimize the oppressor, the oppressor, the colonizers of La Republique, by going every year into an exercise that he knew was futile, was not going to produce any result, that he needed to participate for the Bolivia to always emerge as a champion, because a champion without a fight is not a true champion. He had to keep on legitimizing Paul Biya as some legitimate leader by providing this phony competition and allowing him to pronounce himself, Biya to pronounce himself as a winner after a competitive election. That's what he did. And then when we decided to fight for ourselves, to take up the challenge on our own, seeing that we have been abandoned, seeing that SDF did not do it, it was hijacked by the oppressor under his command. We decided to rise up. Ambazonia decided to rise up. What did he do again? He changed his address to Yaoundé completely, transferred himself to that, and they started engineering everything. Even Honorable Weber had to leave in exile because of him, because he will not stand for the people. He will not stand for his people. He instead engineered the government of La République du Cameroon to kill our people, to go to Nigeria to abduct our leaders, and asked the United States to round up some of us that we are criminals, we should be arrested. It's a shame. This man is a disgrace in our history. For anybody to celebrate him now as some hero is a provocation to the victims and the families that have buried their thousands, that he purposed to be killed by advising his friend and bedfellow Paul Biya to massacre his way to normalcy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks for that very elaborate explanation on the role of John Frundi as far as so-called democracy is concerned. You made a very, very simple and far-reaching statement. Let people ask themselves, do they feel better since Frundi brought a so-called democracy? Remember that Mitterrand, I think this is Paul Biya's mentor, actually called him a people of democracy. So one could imagine uh, what the state of the country is, given that John Frundi actually joined him in that crusade or diabolic partnership to kill our people. Thank you very much, Mr. President. My second question to you is apparently La République du Cameroon is recycling their scorched earth policy of killing innocent civilians instead of confronting our ARF. What should our response be at this time?
The first thing I want to tell Amazonians is never mind. Whenever you see your enemy recycling, and you use the right word, recycling strategies, it is two things. It is either he is succeeding or he's failing. So, but here's the thing: if the enemy was succeeding by his strategy of killing innocent civilians, entering into homes and slaughtering some of the Cameroonians in their numbers, as we saw all across our territory from the beginning of the struggle, if that was a successful strategy, then there will be no war today as we know it. They would have since been crushed. So they are not recycling because they are succeeding. Because some people say when you are succeeding, keep doing the same thing so that you will make progress. That's not the reason why they have doubled down on killing more and more civilians. Instead, it is a sign of frustration that they are failing. They are failing and they have run out of ideas. They don't know what to do. In their frustration, they just hope that because in their frustration, without knowing what to do, they just keep doing what they can do. They go for the easy targets, those who cannot match them, those who have no response, those who are relying, unfortunately, on somebody to protect them. They go to them and open their houses, pull them down from cars, gather them into bushes and forests and shoot them down. It is coward. It is cowardice. It's a disgrace to an army that calls itself a professional army of a nation to do this. And I want to blame the international community and human rights watchdog organizations. Whenever something like this happens, that civilians are killed and there is a cloud as to who actually perpetrated the crime, and when there are insinuations that it is Ambazonians that committed the crime, then you hear them all over the place. You see them on Twitter, you hear them on radio, write articles, make reports and publish all over the place. Human Rights Watch, International Crisis Group, Amnesty International, you hear all of them writing and making statements. Even foreign government officials will be talking. Their televisions will be all over the place. But when it is clear that La République, without camouflage, goes into a home and massacres people there, and there are clear documentary evidence that they have done so. Sometimes they have even acknowledged it because the evidence speak for itself. Then they are silent. Now that silence is complicity because it tells the perpetrators you can go ahead and do such with impunity. That breeds suspicion, especially in this conflict. That we start looking at some actors who are supposed to be independent and watchdogs to be partisan, to be siding with the oppressor, to think that somehow killing and annihilating the people of Amazonia can be a solution to this. And then when some things happen and they think it is Amazonia or not, then that's when they talk. That is a selective That's selective outrage, and it is unacceptable. I would like them to come out vehemently, whether on the floor, in the floor of the United Nations, whether through their ambassadors, whether through the human rights organizations, and speak to the powers that be in Yaoundé and the perpetrators of this act to stop. And I call on the United Nations. This a good. This is a moment that they're supposed to be talking about fact-finding missions or threatening them with ICJ, International Criminal Court, rather actions. We have a petition at the International Criminal Court, which pending investigation. This is the moment that they should be asking the ICJ to do something, because we are all interested to know and to get these people, these perpetrators, and to answer for their actions. So that is a very sad situation. For me, our action. Here's the thing: you are asking to know what should we do. La République started this war. And the next thing they did is that when they continued their wave of criminality and violence against innocent civilians, they helped us to recruit our crowd of fighters that we have. They recruited for us through their their use of brute force and violence against our people, burning houses, making our people defenseless, our defenseless people hopeless, and give up on life. And when people have given up on life, they are not afraid to die. They are ready to fight, probably to live. And that is how they led us to recruit thousands of people who are now ready to resist and have been resisting. That wave of violence recruited the numbers we have and the fight we have today. This second wave of violence, or the continuation of the violence, will beget violence. Violence begets violence. They should not think that this will go without response. The first one, they thought it will go without response. It created Ambazonia Restoration Forces. This, now that they are continuing and killing people, they were recently in Boyo, raced down a whole village, killed, burned Queen Mother alive in her palace, burned down every house in that village. What do they think they have done? Solved the problem? No. Just recruited some hundreds more to join Ambazonia. And now this new wave of killing will create a new wave of response from Ambazonia. I cannot tell you what an angry man will do, but I can only tell you that he will do something. Because violence begets violence. La République no longer has the monopoly of violence that they thought they had, that kept us under bondage. They don't have it. They no longer have the monopoly of violence. Therefore, violence shall beget violence. Since they have chosen to kill innocent civilians, let them know that it's not only Ambazonians that have civilians. La République too has civilians. This is what they are doing to push people to their worst instincts. We raise up a political matter that requires a political solution. They have mobilized to kill people, and they are killing innocent civilians, father, mother, children, babies, burning down everything on their way. They don't have the monopoly, and you cannot tell what an angry man will do. I want to promise them that the people are angry enough to do the worst if they don't stop. And for the rest, we'll just wait and see whether this will go without a response from the people who are angry enough in Ambazonia.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that precise response. I would like to add that the Queen Mother, who was burnt alive, we went to school together in the early 70s. She was 2-3 classes ahead of me in that village, which I was there for about a year before moving somewhere else. So I know that part of the part of Ambazonia pretty well. Mejang and Baicham, all those places I visited when I was 6, 7 years old. So it's a very sad story. So the next follow-up to this is, do our fighters have the equipment and materials they need?
First of all, the question is both is subjective. The answer will be subjective because here are some of the things we must rather ask. What do we think our who do we think our fighters are? Are they conventional fighters or they are guerrillas? Some people will say conventional. I think they are guerrillas. Also, what do we think they need? So everybody has this idea of what they think our people on the ground need. How much do you think they need of what they have or what they need? How much do you think they need? The answers vary just because it's an opinion depending on what you think about the war that is ongoing. What I can tell you is that once upon a time, when La Republique used helicopter gunships and was shooting us down like game, we were running helter-skelter with nothing but sticks we had in our hands, stones, and bare hands, bare knuckles. Just that is where we started in 2017. But today, I want to just tell you that armored cars cannot more move freely in Amazonia. They are scared to death when they are riding on our roads. I want to tell you that when they come against us with their AK-47, they understand from the sound that some of their AK-47 they brought in 2017 and 18 and 19 remain in Amazonia. That's the only explanation they have. Because we are able to match them toe to toe. We are able to surprise them and blow up their armored vehicles that cost them hundreds of millions. This is how much our people, our boys have progressed from 2017 bare knuckles to 2023 blowing up armored vehicles and render them useless and blow up every soul that is in that armored vehicle. They have acquired the capacity to do so. Guerrillas use what they have within their environment to fight back because they live in the jungles. They utilize their environment to survive, to resist, and to fight back. If we have gone this far, our boys have done a lot. Our girls have done a lot. I'm here to celebrate them. As to whether they have all they need, they have never. In a war, you never have everything you need, all that you need. Go and ask the Ukrainians, ask them the same question. That do you have all the material you need? They will tell you even after billions of dollars that have been given to them in materials, they don't still have enough. We don't. That's why we are calling on all of us, all Amazonians, all the Southern Cameroonians, those who want to see a free Amber land, despite all opposition that we face, to make the extra sacrifice to make sure that you give. You give. They don't give to people who are faceless, who could not be held accountable for what you give them. Give to the interim government. Every dime of yours shall be accounted for, and we will give account to people you know that represent your counties and your LGs. That's what we do. I will make sure that the money and whatever the sacrifices you make get down to the ground and help us to win, because we must win. There is no alternative to winning.
Once again, thank you, Mr. President. Let's move now to the diplomatic front. The Swiss-led process was very hopeful and supported by many in the international community. Yet La République du Cameroon withdrew and remotely engineered the secret talks in Quebec. What should be our expectation at this time, and others that may have taken place after, such as the Hudson Institute meeting and USIP, that United States Institute of Peace?
The names you have called are respected stakeholders in this struggle. So I want to be very careful not to slight anybody. But let me say this categorically, that there has only been one genuine international process that would have solved this problem in the right manner as a conflict between two countries of equal status. And that process was the Swiss process, which we endorsed 100%, which we participated in for 2.5 years, which La République dreaded, having been persuaded by their internal enablers who told them, we have destabilized the interim government, so you don't need to go where they are. Just back off. They are all we have leveled the playing field. The one you dread most is no longer in existence. So why do you go to Switzerland? Encourage them to withdraw. That is my assessment. Remember, that only happened after some infiltrators tried to destabilize this interim government. Immediately, La République came out boldly and said, we don't want it again. Okay. This is my assessment, that after that, whether it is Canada, whether it is Hudson, whether it is USIP, these have been La République and crooked international stakeholders' attempt to truncate genuine dialogue. That's my assessment. Everything that happened after La République voluntarily and unilaterally withdrew from Switzerland are just attempts by La République and crooked international stakeholders to truncate genuine dialogue. By genuine dialogue, I'm talking about the kind of dialogue that will bring the people of Southern Cameroons and the people of La République du Cameroon on a table as equal stakeholders, as equal parties, to talk about a union of equals that failed. So that is what has happened. Here is the thing: they want to help La République to truncate genuine dialogue, because a genuine dialogue must have the government of Ambazonia that is the symbol of a restored nation. Without a restored nation on the side of Ambazonia, there is no equality. The talks will only happen between two unequal parties. But the only way we can approach this matter as two states of equal status is when Southern Cameroons and Ambazonia have a government which represents the sovereignty of that nation, as it were, in Fumban. So that is what the La République is struggling to use certain crooked stakeholders to achieve. By truncating the genuine dialogue, by dissolving the power of the IG as principal on this side. Because if they can dissolve the power of the IG as principal on this side, then they have reduced this to an internal affair within a certain construct called La République du Cameroun. So that is the fight. When you see all the fight to reduce the IG to a group, to dissolve the IG and make it as a actor completely or despise it, pretend that it doesn't exist? I dare anybody, any Sunday talk show host to pronounce my name in any of their televisions. There are many stakeholders in Amazonia. Pronounce my name there and talk freely about what I'm talking here now and what we are doing. They will fire, they will close that station. That is a deliberate attempt to despise our existence, to deny our existence, to level the playing field, to deny us the status of sovereignty, of a sovereign nation with a legitimate political leadership as a country. Otherwise, they will have to meet us as another country of two equals. They dread that, and they wish us away. We're not going anywhere. I'm sorry. The interim government is here. The God that was with Joah and that was with Foncha and with all the founding fathers is with us. The same God is with us. We are going nowhere. La Republic will meet us as two equal parties, or there will be no dialogue. We are not going to meet them as their subjects because we have never been their subjects. We are not going to meet them as some groups of disgruntled people who speak English language who want to talk to them. No. We are going to meet them as the representative of the legitimate representative of the nation that they attempted to annex and assimilate and failed. They will meet us. That's how they will meet us. And so the interim government is here. Go and tell them that try to take us out of the equation, that we are still here.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, as a follow-up to that very exhaustive explanation, what has become of the stakeholders and the movement for a referendum?
Those are all people, those are all attempts by some out of ignorance and some wittingly or unwittingly working for the same La République du Cameroon, trying to achieve something. They want to change the character, those people who came for referendum. Unfortunately, I'm talking about this again. I thought we have, that was buried. For your information, that project is dead and buried. Then let me tell you what they wanted to do. They wanted to recharacterize our endeavor as something else than what it is. They wanted this struggle in Amazonia to be not about we are free, but we want to be free. Because our struggle in this interim government is that we are a free people and we are defending our freedom. But they wanted us to say, no, we are not free. We want to be free. They wanted the struggle to change from we are independent to we are demanding for independence. We are not demanding for independence from anybody because we had it. You don't ask for what you have. So they wanted, these people of referendum, they wanted us to change from we have independence to we are asking for independence. They wanted the struggle to be recharacterized from from a restoration struggle to an agitation for a referendum. Can a people who are asking for a referendum claim to have restored anything? How do you restore and ask for a referendum? So if you accept one, it means you don't have the other. If you accept the fight for a referendum to give you the give you the independence, it means you did not have it in the first place. So they wanted to change, recharacterize our struggle from a struggle between two states of equal status to a struggle within one Cameroon that has to decide what happens to the people of Southwest and Northwest regions of Cameroon. That's what they wanted to do. I speak today like this, And I can say that some people, out of ignorance, embrace the terminology because they did not even know what it was, what the implications were. They thought they understood what a referendum means, but they did not know what that it means within our context. They did not know. Many did not know. But I'm sure we took time to educate the people of Amazonia, and a good number of patrons came to the understanding. Now, the salesmen of that project, they don't have enough to convince anybody to join them again. So I can tell you that it is dead and buried. We will This matter will only end by recognition through fighting or recognition through negotiation.
To add that I was witness when the Canadian government, through the HD, apologized to you for having made the error of constraining us a region in La Republic Cameroon. So I can say that here without fear, because that apology was said to you in my presence. Thank you. Independence, indeed, we had in October 1961. 1st October will take a new dimension this year. What is in the pipeline, Mr. President?
Yes, this 1st October 2023 shall be the 7th Independence Day celebration within the era of this resistance, this war. During this war, this is the 7th we are celebrating. So it's very significant that after 7 years, some people think that is a long time, that we should have probably disappeared. The Biafran struggle lasted for 3.5 years and they disappeared. So some people can just be, those who are wishing us away, after 7 years might really genuinely think that we have disappeared, because they are living in denial. They will not read our papers. They will not go to ABC. They will just keep denying and hoping that somehow we disappear. In the 7th year, we should come out en masse to remind them we are still here. Let us remind them that the Ukrainian conflict did not eclipse the Amazonian conflict. That's one thing we want to do in this very strategic year. The Ukrainian conflict is 1 year old. So it is a good time for us to remind the world that we are still here. Theirs did not eclipse ours or end ours. The same atrocities are continuing, if not increasing, against the people of the Southern Cameroon and Amazonia. We want to go back again. You know, all habits are difficult to die. So we started this by going out and sensitizing our people about the crimes that were committed against us and the real character of our struggle. It is time for us to come out en masse from Europe to the Americas, in Africa, whether in Australia or Asia. Let us come out en masse and inform the people that we are still here, despite the fact that the cameras have been turned away to Europe and Ukraine. The conflict has not stopped. It is instead the enemy is enjoying the blackout to commit even more heinous atrocities against our innocent people. And it will help us to reignite the fire again in the revolution. Some of us, because by simply doing one thing over and over and crying for this long, some people get tired. Not because the pain is over, but because they are tired. They want to get rest, then they continue to cry. But some people, when they want to take a rest, they sleep instead. So we want to reach out to our people, but through these events, and remind our people to stand up, to tell them that when the oppressed are silent, it gives the wrong impression that the problem is no longer a painful one. There are many problems in the world. So if your own problem can give you sleep to sleep, nobody will worry about you. In America, 911 will not come for you. But if your own problem will make you not to sleep and you come out shouting and crying, they will be everywhere in your compound to take you so you can get help. This is a time that we will not be silent. And whether tired or not, we will not be silent. We want to call from the fringes and from the side walk. Those who are standing and watching, probably tired, want to call them back into the fold. Let us march. Let us make some noise. Let us tell the world we are still here. That Amazonia has the right, and we are even though we have been massacred, we need their attention. Our problem is one that they should be able to look into for anyone who is fighting for humanity. Let us use this opportunity to shame those in the international community who define a problem not by its severity but by who has the problem. To tell them that we have suffered probably more than some people in some places in Ukraine have suffered less than what we have suffered in the people of Amazonia. Yet little or no attention is paid to us. We have to cry out. It's only the cry of the oppressed that can prick the consciences of the powerful. Let us do so, and Amazonia shall be free. So this year, from Washington to all the major states in America to Europe, we are going to gather. We are going to come out. And I'm trying to appeal to you who has one problem with the other brother or the other sister, one disagreement here or there, probably an insult in the forum or another insult on Facebook. Those are petty. The most important thing is why we even came together for this. If that situation has not changed, why should we suddenly change? That sounds like surrender. Let us hold hands again and go out and continue the fight. The main reason why we came should not be forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. ABC has been very transformative in the way this war is explained to Amazonians. You have played a vital role to make sure that ABC gets the resources it needs in order to communicate not only with Amazonians but with our ground forces, to educate and to clarify a lot of events. And we've done that in the past 1 year. What I would like to ask you, with the growing ABC viewership at the home front, you recently met with ABC club members. Before I ask you what that was all about, I'd like to take this occasion to thank all those who've been making ABC relevant to our people, all those who actually come on a daily basis, Dr. Victor Mba, Pastor Commando, we have our anchorman, the infatigable Paddy Tar. I also like to thank the Undersecretary of State for Communication and IT, Chief Oben, who has been working tirelessly behind the scene to make sure that we get these programs on time and in terms of quality. All those on the ground, at the home front and ground one, all the technicians and those who've been holding other programs like the Horizon, the ethics group, and so on and so forth. I would like to use this occasion and thank them. So, Mr. President, I would like to, you to talk to Ambazonians about what this meeting was all about.
Yes, I also want to add to the congratulations to everyone who has helped in one way or the other to keep the voice of Amazonia alive. Just imagine a war going on without an official channel of communication like this. You don't know what you have until you don't have it again. Just imagine what it will be. Just imagine the vacuum that will be when the international stakeholders are looking to the information to know what are these people saying? Because in that cacophony, everybody speaks for Amazonia. That's what it will be. And what a confusion when they have to look all over the place, they don't know which one is from the Ambazonia, which one is not from, which one is a personal opinion by somebody, which one is Ambazonia's official position. They will know nothing. But now we know, they know that we have the ABC. If it is not from the ABC, they take it with a pinch of salt. That's why some of them have reached out to me personally, say we see something like this, especially when we have not said anything on Twitter on ABC. They want to know what we are saying. They will not pick up something because somebody unknown, faceless, has written something and published, and they said that's Ambazonian's position. Again, we have been spared from that because of a viable ABC. I read from other the confidential cables that the ABC is really a problem to the enemy. They are having sleepless nights because of the ABC. And when your enemy is having sleepless nights because of what you are doing, then just know you are doing the right thing. Even if you don't know why he's not sleeping, just know you are doing the right thing. And that is why I want to congratulate those who have put their hands in their pockets to make the sacrifices needed to keep this house open, and also including the volunteers. The volunteers, it's not all about money. The volunteers who have put in their time, their energy, their knowledge to produce what you are enjoying now. I want to say on behalf of Ambazonia, thank you. I had a meeting to meet with these stakeholders and these club members to encourage one thing, to encourage subscription, to appeal for subscription. Because in this struggle right now, our number one focus, whether for counties, LGAs, or this central government, is the ground game. But with that focus, sometimes we forget to do other essential things, such as communication. Because it doesn't matter what we do. If it is not heard, it means we did nothing. If it is not known, it means we don't exist. If it is misunderstood, then we are not helping ourselves. So we have to have a communication house that is able to establish and publish our own narrative, our own position on things. So I'm calling on those people, Ambazonia, to subscribe. That means to consider to set aside a certain amount of money that will go for the matters that involve communication. So we continue to occupy this space that we occupy and render this service that we render for the struggle in this domain, without being distracted from the other, the major assignment we have, which is drafting to support our forces on the ground. So we can solve that easily through a process of elimination. If we draft anything from $10, $20, $100 a month, and we are able to get that directly from our accounts or from our bank accounts or cards system, that is set aside. And if that covers the budget, we have eliminated that problem. We can now focus on the other one, which is a daily challenge of helping our forces on the ground to meet up with the forces of the oppressor, who are trying to annihilate our people. So that is what I will continue to say today. Go to ABC website. I'm sure it will be on this broadcast. Please just go in there and see for yourself. Consider subscribing and for the next 1 year to help this media house, so that we will not be doing fundraisers. No, we are a house of advocacy. This ABC is for advocacy. And one thing with advocacy media is that it is not easy to sell to the general public. It is usually sponsored primarily by subscription. So that is why we keep relying on you, the consumer, those who believe in what we are advocating for. You are the one to do something to help us through subscription. We cannot go for adverts because some people don't like to advertise on our platform because of what we advocate for, what we are fighting for. Some people don't want to be seen to do to help us, and so on. So that is why we rely more on subscription. So I challenge you to take this the link and go around, meet people who like to help advocacy for things like this, advocacy against genocide, advocacy against uh, 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 cultural and human and economic genocide that is going on against these people. That's what we're advocating against here. So people want to support that, they can do so without fear. We are in the United States of America. We are a 501c um, uh, organization. That means that if you donate money to us, we are able, the ABC is able to issue you a receipt for all your donations throughout the year, and you can use that for your tax purposes by according to the laws of the United States. So you can do that in the church. You can do that to other organizations. Why not do same for ABC? We'll give you the same documentation. So that is what we are I started um, 2 days ago. That's what I started, and I think I will continue to invite you to join me. I am a a patron also of ABC, uh, contributing $100 every month. I challenge you to join me at that level of membership, and let's help the communication. If you like anything we are doing here, they are doing here in ABC, you can make that sacrifice, and Amazonia will be free.
Thank you, Mr. President. So that I cut short my message of thanks, and I don't want to forget, especially the infatigable women who have been uh, so powerful to make sure that uh, the Amazonians understand what is going on. Um, Ma Dorothy, Dr. Biedu, uh, our great professor, Bridget Tebo, they have all been extremely instrumental in bringing the quality of programs that we project to the home front. So I would like to make sure that Ambazonians know about these people. We have Casey, of course. I can't forget you. You've been very uh, instrumental in handling some of the interview sessions that we had. Of course, our two wonderful ladies at the anchor. Uh, I think Okpala and Miss Smart. And thank you for the work that you've done. We are not, this program is not over yet. We're still probably getting to some very topical issues. Mr. President, the interim government recently sent food to our refugees at Ground One. What challenges are you facing in these endeavors?
Yeah, I'm. I want to use this occasion to thank the HSS department, especially the head of HSS department, Dr. Tita Emmanuel, for the leadership he has provided to that department, and for constantly pushing us to do the necessary. You don't have to have much to give. No, because at any point you have what you have, there is somebody who doesn't have it. So you don't have to have too much to give. And I want to appreciate the team that is doing everything on the ground to put a smile on some of our most vulnerable and suffering ones in this struggle in refugee camps and in the prisons. I want to appreciate you. But I want to say that whatever we did, and this is not all before the year ends, we are already planning something within the next 1 month, and then something else again by December. Whatever we saw as participants and distribution did not affect more than 1/100 of the population we have in Nigeria. We have more than 125,000 registered refugees in Nigeria. So it's not easy for us. They are used this occasion to ask for more. I'm trying to say that just as you are doing in your local government and you are doing it for ABC, you are doing it for this government. Don't forget to take from your lunch and your dinner something that you will set aside and give to the government and mark it HSS and say this thing is going to help the refugees. Dr. Tita will be announcing another visit that we want to visit these people before the 1st of October. Another camp to see how much we can do. Whatever you give will only help to solve that problem. But it will not solve it, but it will help. But we have to do something. We don't have to have millions before we can help our people. Let us do something. And I'm appealing to you people, do what you can do and let HSS have some money that we can go and put some smiles on their faces. We will have other projects for them, not just to give them fish, but to see how we can help them to fish. So all that we have to do, and at the same time, help our forces on the ground to stop this, to win this once and for all, and stop whatever is pushing our people to leave their land. All this we must do simultaneously. So I'm appealing to you, don't be tired, because I'm talking to you because you're the one who has always given. But where do I go to? Who do I talk to? Please don't forget the HSS. There's somebody who is far less. Somebody went on my program where I published the images on my site on my web page or so, and said, "This is politics. This is nonsense." I mean, giving food to those vulnerable ones and putting food, helping them to survive a day or two. They say that is nonsense. And I like one comment that somebody wrote under that comment, that stupid person. I told him that I pray that God will make you, take you from the level that you are now and make you to be as one of those refugees who have no hope of what to eat today or tomorrow. That God will reduce you to their level for you to know how not to call helping such people as politics, how not to call helping such people as nonsense. May God reduce you to their level. Then you will understand practically what the meaning, the stupidity of the statement that you made. You see some of them, you see them on the screen. Some of them are not sure of what they will eat tomorrow morning. They are not sure. And that, I mean it. They are not sure of what they will eat tomorrow. We struggle to do this, give them something they can wear, put some food in their mouth, and we tell them, well, we don't have, we'll come back again. Somebody say that is bad and call that names. I'm begging, please help us. Let's help as many as we can. And God will bless you and bless you for doing so. Thank you.
You, Mr. President. I would like to seize this occasion to also thank somebody who was very special to me, my Chief of Staff, Ruth Achenege, who lives in a different time zone, and she manages to make sure that I get all the important information I need in order to operate. We've been working very closely for the past 2 years since I took this position as Secretary of State. I think this is a good occasion to thank her and the other Chief of Staff for the President himself, Dr. Yaya. People underrate the role of Chief of Staff. I'm telling you that it is not easy, because whatever happens around the President or around my department, these are the people that have to make sure that the facts are understood and sent to the right quarters. And I also like to thank our great Director General, Ma Endele. She has worked so hard to make sure that ABC television operates despite the very small budget that she has control of. So um, we've almost come to the end of this discussion, if I can put it that way. So to round up, is there any information that you would like to inform Amazonians that are missed out? I think it's an opportunity for you to let's say something else that you thought I wasn't able to cover during this very brief interview session. Over to you, Mr. President.
Dr. Mungwa, with your permission, Dr. Mungwa, Mr. President, with your permission, thank you. It's not easy for us to have the two of you on a platform like this. And I will not play justice to Ambazonians if I let you out of the hook. You started it, Dr. Mungwa. You hinted us on something, our camera missed it at a particular time. And you were saying that the Foreign Affairs or somebody from Canada apologized to the president. I'm not asking you to give details. Maybe the president should give us details. Thank you, Mr. President. Ambazonians will not permit or forgive us if we let that out.
Okay. The first thing I want to talk about three things. As I round up, I will answer that question the way I can. Number one, I want our treatment of the corpse of the chief traitor, Nijon Frundi, to serve as a lesson for other apprentice blacklegs in Amazonia. I mean, those who are enjoying the crumbs from La République du Cameroon and have chosen to trade our collective hegemony for their personal conveniences, to know that henceforth, going forward, this is how their corpse will be treated in Amazonia. Those of you who want to see before you believe, wait and see what will happen to the corpse of Frundi. Then you understand. Wait and see what we are going to do in the Bamenda. If they like, let them militarize the whole of Bamenda and Babatu. Because enough is enough. The best place to bury a traitor is in the compound of his master that he served. And we will make sure that that is the case. No personal, not personal. This is about a people. This is about the struggle. We want this lesson not to the cops. We want to teach this lesson not to the cops, but to the surviving traitors who think they can die in the house of their masters and then come and have a glorious political burial in Amazonia, which for us is the height of provocation. Number two, the draft. The draft tour is going to Bui as the first county on the 15th. That means today is Saturday, next weekend. Next Saturday. Yeah, next Saturday. Today is not Saturday. Yeah, after this Saturday, the next Saturday will be in Bui. Choosing Bui for very strategic reasons. As the bastion of our resistance, we are so proud of the sons of Bui. We are so proud of our restoration forces in Bui. And we are coming, Amazonia is coming to say thank you. You made us proud. We want to make you proud. I'm sending this message to all our restoration forces in Bui to know that this year we are going to do something that all of you will be proud of from whatever Ambazonians shall give to us, provided you remain united and you understand that a man with a gun without a government is called a criminal. But a man with a gun under the power of the authority of a government is called a soldier. We're talking to all the soldiers that if you recognize that fact and you are ready to work with us, whatever we have come Saturday and going forward, we shall remember all of you. So I'm calling on all Ambazonians. This is an invitation. Join me, all roads lead to Bui. And it will not be a mistake that when we raise our flag in Bui, we should be remembered and honored, at least, to erect the War College of Ambazonia, the first War College of Ambazonia. So we are coming in this enthusiasm to give you the support. I hope you'll be ready. I want to pivot to the international community now. On Monday, the 3rd of July, 3 ships, warships, anchored in Lagos. Naval vessels from China anchored in Lagos had exchanges, for a visit to the Nigerian Navy. They had all kinds of discussions. Just a few months ago, the US defense officials, they said China has the ambition to build a military base in the Gulf of Guinea. The Gulf of Guinea stretches from Angola to Senegal, so somewhere there. And tell you where is the heart of the Gulf? It is Ambazonia. Ambazonia, Equatorial Guinea, Nigeria. And the Chinese are already there. First off, I want to invite Ambazonians who understand geopolitics and what is at stake to at least go to my Twitter handle and share that tweet. It's very, very significant. I'm calling on our allies, those who started with us and abandoned us in 1961 and left, for fear that Russia will come and take us over, to tell them that Russia is already here. Do you want them to take us over also? Do you want the Russians and the Chinese to take us over by simply taking over Yaoundé and connecting with their allies now, alliances they are building in Nigeria? Or you want to come straight to us because we are offering a hand? We want to build a strategic alliances with the people who have stood with us during this war. How long shall silence be called wisdom? How long shall inaction be called wisdom? Whatever strategies the West was building on to put away the Chinese and the Russians, if those strategies were working, we will not be here at this point now. This will not be the conversation now. This is a sign that those strategies are failing. Those traditional alliances are failing. Sometimes politicians are smart, but they are slow. Ambazonia is offering a hand to the United States of America. We cannot be second-guessed, for we know where we stand. But as for those traditional alliances of yours that have failed this far, if you hope that somehow something will change without by doing nothing, then you are mistaken. When you consider the stretch of the Gulf, Amazonia is at the armpit of the Gulf of Guinea and probably the most strategic partner in the Gulf of Guinea. This is the region in Africa that has the highest mineral concentration in the whole continent. And the Chinese that yesterday were only traders, buy and sell them. Today, they are coming with their military to establish military uh, uh, they are to establish their military base. Amazonia made the first offer, and we are ready to work with those who have worked with us. A word to a wise is enough. As for those conversations that we had, it suffices to say, my friend looked at me in the eye and said, "You know what? It was a mistake." Yes, it was a mistake. It was not supposed to be so. They corrected it. Than for me to come here and try to grandstand on that or try to use them. That is not it should not be an attempt to humiliate anyone. It suffices to say that you can also apologize, and it depends on if I believe that. I accept that. So I don't want to talk about that. If I want to talk about that, I will tell you whether I believe in the apology or not. Some apologies are accepted, some are just tolerated, some are not accepted. So I don't want to tell you what exactly it was. I want to tell you that it happened, and I understood that they said it was a mistake. But so let it be. Let me see going forward whether my recommendations as to what was supposed to be done that was not done are taken. Then I will know that the apology resulted to a change of mind, indeed, or a lesson learned or not. So with this, I come to the end of this interview, or unless I'm shutting the door too soon because I have other things to do. I want to.
Right. I will just take a few moments again. I know my list of acknowledgements, so thank you. I just got a few others. I've been looking through my notes. Our great Professor Epote, who's been handling the education front, is somebody uh, we cannot ignore this time. Of course, he's a personal friend to me too. We've spoken at various occasions, and her positions are always very, very strong as far as Bazonia is concerned. Our great Ma Iringwa, we know the energy she has, and all for Ambazonia as always. And I know I did mention Ma Dorotingwa. You have Ma Rachel. You have uh, even I have Ma Benedicta. These are all ladies who've been working so hard, and I think we've done a little bit of we haven't done much justice to tell the Amazonian people that behind all that you see, there are lots of people, both men and women, who've been making it possible for this program to get to the home front. So my apologies if I left out other names, but you all know that this is a team. It's a teamwork. It's not just one person. Once again, thank you, Mr. President, for taking time out to speak to Amazonians. We cherish and appreciate your presence. I subscribe to the vision that you've projected about Amazonia, and I can assure Amazonians that we will fight. I will fight next to you for the rest of our days to make sure that only independence comes from Amazonia. If for some reason people think that they can get it by some other crooked means, we can only watch them. But we believe that we know what it takes to have independence. And I am here to let Amazonians know that we have not moved from that objective. Thank you, and over to you, Paddy.
ma. Hear me, wanna shout to baby. Okay. Wawa yeah. Piraturo, yeah. Wapino, piraturo, yeah. Wapino, piraturo, yeah. Fere fu fere tata ini fomo tata ini. Fere fu fere tata ini fomo tata ini. Musike ma kem kere, yeah. Fere fu fere tata ini fomo tata ini. Wawa yeah, kai fodu. Evidon, we run for la ina. We run for la sakirka. Jem tung ke mala ako sa wikola fomo. We run for la ina. Dinka, asung din mo akirka. Toten, min license tatin. Dinka, asung din mo akirka. Toten, min license tatin. Piraturo, yeah. Wapino, piraturo, yeah. Wapino, piraturo, yeah. Fere fu fere tata ini fomo tata ini. Fere fu fere tata ini fomo tata ini. Musike ma kem kere, yeah. Fere fu fere tata ini fomo tata ini. Musike ma kem kere.
Adakela shura di shula bo wa bino jiwira turo jiwira turo adakela juma di jumla bo adakela tura di turla bo wa bino jiwira turo jiwira turo
Piraturo, yeah.
Wabino, piraturo, yeah.
Fere fu fere tata ini fomo tata ini. Fere fu fere tata ini fomo tata ini. Musike ma kem kere, yeah. Fere fu fere tata ini fomo tata ini. Musike ma kem kere,
mon ami faut travailler. Même si ça ne va pas jamais décourager. Mon ami, faut travailler. Même si ça ne va pas jamais décourager.
Once again, good evening, fellow Amazonians. It's been an amazing conversation between the Secretary of State of Communications and IT with the President of Amazonia. I know that there's a lot for us to decode in this, and we will have a few minutes, about an hour maximum, to look through and try to err on what the President was saying as our duty, and we may take some calls if need be. But just before we do that, there's something that you've been seeing and you've heard the President say, we have to make it this year different. We must make it this year different. Right after this break, I'll be back with Dr. Tita Emmanuel and Barrister Tim Beseha.
The piece of cloth made in Ambazonia. a land brimming with history, courage, and the indomitable spirit of its people, a profound reflection of Ambazonia's collective identity and our unyielding struggle for freedom.
A full representation of who we are, what we are, the history, story, and the struggle. It's a piece of cloth you should have in your closet. It is woven into a rich tapestry of cultural heritage, traditions, and long-standing desire for self-determination, proudly adorned with unique patterns and symbolizes unity in the Amazonian people.
The cloth's patterns and colors mirror the courage and hope that fueled their aspirations for a brighter future. Each thread represented a story of bravery, sacrifice, and the unwavering commitment to justice.
The piece of cloth, made in Ambazonia, became more than just a garment. It transformed into a symbol of a call for recognition, worn proudly by Ambazonians and their allies worldwide. It carried a message: we exist and we deserve to be heard. As long as the cloth adorns chests and shoulders, the spirit of Ambazonia lives on, and the hope for a free and united land remains alive. The piece of cloth, made in Ambazonia.
That was an amazing one right there, Dr. Tita, Barrister team. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Director Paddy.
Maybe you want to centralize yourself. You want to come towards your right a little bit, and so that no, towards your right hand. You're going towards your left.
Okay.
Move towards your right, Barrister team. That's amazing. That's lovely now. Thank you. Okay, you're welcome. Where do we start? The president spoke in three different dimensions this evening. Spoke about the struggle as a whole when it comes to how we function, our responses, self-defense, diplomacy, and it is special enough to say that he spoke particularly this time about HSS, the endeavors, and I could see your stars, the way they increased after the president has spoken. Maybe that's where we should begin, Dr. Tita. Good evening once again and welcome. Tell us more about this project that you're about to launch in relation to the president's vision of tonight's discussion.
Good evening, Director Paddy. Good evening, senior barrister team. I mean, it's such an amazing day being on ABC tonight and being in the struggle. First, I really like to thank the president. I mean, all throughout that interview, I watched the president stay calm and really relaxed, well composed, despite all the challenges that is happening, despite all the killings that are going on the ground, and managing everything that he has to manage in the revolution. I mean, the president did an exceptional job, you know. But one thing that is very significant of today's interview is that officially, from the assessment, the downfall that Larbridge Cameroon did everything possible to crumble this struggle, officially, we have gone past that and we're only rising. This is very significant, and the world needs to know this, and all of the Amazonian people need to know this, that despite the billions of dollars or whatever you want to call it that Larbridge Cameroon put in the struggle all throughout last year, despite all the confusion that Larbridge Cameroon brought into the struggle last year, despite all the efforts of the sellouts that had cashed out from Larbridge Cameroon from last year in an effort to destroy this struggle, that process, they have completely failed, and our struggle have picked up. We've gone through that downstage, and we are now climbing, and we will only climb until Larbridge Cameroon get to that negotiation table or fully withdraw from Ambazonia. I mean, colonialism was a crime in the 60s. It's still a crime today. Larbridge Cameroon must leave Ambazonia with all of its colonial administrators and military. So it's a really good day for every Southern Cameroonians, both at the home front and in the diaspora, to know that thanks to the great leadership of the president, we've successfully defeated La République du Cameroon in their greatest effort to destroy the struggle. The struggle is alive. That's how I felt. I mean, I was almost tearing out, like, this struggle is alive, and we are up and we are running now, and we're ready for the victory. Yes, thanks to the great leadership of the president, we did an outreach to the refugee settlement, thanks to the collective leadership of all the counties and the LGHS that came in forcefully to contribute money towards this project alongside the National Treasury. I mean, we have a good team. And that's one thing I'm really, really excited about this interim government and with the leadership of the president, despite all the confusion that La République du Cameroon did, is that the president has put together a team that is working together for the good of the people of Ambazonia. So we were able to raise some money real quick where we did the outreach that we did for the World Refugee Day. But it's not only the outreach that we did, it's the message that the refugees were putting out, calling on the international community to stop the politics and talk to their leader. It's very important. Stop the politics and talk to their leader, and not pay attention to all of these sellouts out there that have been paid by La République du Cameroon, running around from one meeting room or conference room to another, talking about some fake conference, acting like they're working for the Ambazonian people, while they're working for La République du Cameroon. The refugees came out in thousands to talk to the international community, that speak to our leader, and there's no other person that we're referring to but Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, who is the president of this interim government. So, I mean, it's an extremely good day to see this day and to even watch the interview of the president. Like the president said, HSS is working really hard to see how we can continuously raise some funds, to see how we can make another outreach to another settlement within the next month or so. But we have a very good team. So we are strongly encouraging every Southern Cameroonians that's out there that did not get the chance to donate for the last outreach that we did, to come in and send in some money to the National Treasury under HSS so we can do another outreach to our refugee settlements. Our brothers and sisters really need us. Like the president was saying, there's no politics here. We're taking care of our people, even while at the same time making sure that at the home front, they get everything that they need, and those that are wounded get treated, that they get the necessary treatment that they're supposed to get from this interim government. I mean, I'm extremely happy seeing this day in my spirit, with the energy at how far we've come in this struggle and where we are today, to know that we've defeated La République du Cameroon, we've defeated the sellouts, we've defeated the enablers, and we are right now on the right footing to face them head on at the negotiation table as soon as they can get there. Yeah, thank you so much, Director Paddy.
That's amazing. We're going to talk on some aspect when you are saying now that we're going to visit another settlement, but I like Barrister Tim to react to it, and we'll handle this aspect. Fortunately, I have Barrister Tim here to look into the legality. We need to talk about it for the second time because information and word keep coming to us, and it's unfortunate what's happening. Barrister Tim, please, you heard the president, and in your savoir of diplomacy, what would you tell us this evening?
Thank you, Paddy, for having me. The president said a lot of things that probably would take us months, weeks to analyze. He spoke in diplomatic language, which we shall come to analyze. But let me start from where it is easier to forget, where most of the followers might not have reasoned the way they were expected to reason. Let me start from what the president, something that did not come out of the president's mouth. Because there were only two people there. There was Dr. Mungwa, and there was the president. Everybody was listening to the president. But let me start by listening to Dr. Mungwa. And what he said, which might go be forgotten so soon unless we know the significance. At the end of the day, Dr. Mungwa recognized, gave appreciation to a number of people who have been struggling, who are struggling, who continue to struggle to put up everything possible. It's a team of formidable people. But that's not all. If you listen to that recognition, you probably agree with me that about 60 or 70% of the people recognized are women. Is this important? Very, very important. People might not know. And let me show you the scenario where women are very important at this stage. I don't know how many of us know that the state of Israel, the state of Israel was created in 1947. At that time, the whole of Israel was less than 1 million people. But merely 20 years into that creation, 1961, Israel fought a war of survival against the Arab world, Egypt, Jordan, all the Arab world combined, which was probably 50 times the population of Israel. And they won the war. That's when they captured the Golan Heights and all those places that are today being disputed. But who fought this war? If you have ever read it, a lot of the pilots that flew the jet bombers, that flew the planes to fight the Arabs, were women. Women flew the planes. Out of the tiny population of less than 1 million, they left their children home, flew the planes, fought and won, and today Israel is still one of the most powerful countries in the world. Even the Republic depends on them for intelligence. They depend on them for defense. And so I will start by giving that special appreciation to our women, the Amber woman. Let them keep doing what they are doing. Their efforts are paying off. Let them continue to be like the Israelite woman who flew the plane and landed in Cairo, who flew the planes, the bombers, and took over the lands that they are today settling on. That's the part that might be forgotten. That's why I started from there. But if you go back to what the president said, which I said it could take months, the first thing the president addressed was the issue of Nifrundi. And the president had some messages for Nifrundi, dead, but living in the spirit of some people. He said, and permit me to paraphrase what he said. He said, he cannot be celebrated for bringing democracy, even in a republic that he purports to belong to. Because today, even in a republic, there's no place for democracy. So what would he be heralded even there for? His answer was absolutely nothing. And he went on to say, monuments are not built for the living. They are built for the dead. And so at the end of your day, because what is important is how you end your story on earth. What will Nifrundi be reminded for? What will he be remembered for? Even among his own people in La Republic of Cameroon. Where is Wilbur? If there were democracy there, why will Wilbur be in exile for simply making a statement in parliament? What did Nifrundi do when Wilbur was being chased, a member of his own party? The response was, I never authorized him to say what he said in parliament. So you can kill him if you so want. That message is important for those who continue to hail Nifrundi wherever they are to know. And again, he said, how can Ambazonians go to honor a man who tried to kill them and failed. You don't celebrate the failure or the success of your murderer. So, what do you have in store for him? Zero. And above all, he said that traitors have the best burial grounds in their master's yard, because that's where they will have a peaceful sleep. In other words, for those who hate Mr. Nifrundi, go bury him where he chose to be, where he was alive. And he concluded, come and bury him in Bamenda and see what will happen to you. That's a loaded message, which I'm sure those who are following us can take seriously. And so that is the takeoff from what the president said at that stage, which I think we should never forget, because that's the current news. People are prepared to go and bury this man. People are quarreling, people are jumping up and down, how many cows they will eat, how many bottles of beer they will drink. That's the current news. It's not yet come, but it's coming. But I think the message from the president is far-reaching, not only to Ambazonians, but also to his own Benjamin, who sleep in a republic and try to
I
hasten
think that is
what else.
that is breaking news, Barrister Team. That's breaking news. We need to have to analyze that aspect. The president took his time from close to 5 minutes, giving to us very strong reasons, historic, legal, moral, religious, and otherwise, why Frundi, dead or alive, is not allowed or does not have any honor in our homeland. Dr. Tita, please.
I mean, I'm really glad with what the president said there, and it's very obvious. We've all seen it, how Frundi all throughout deceive the Southern Cameroonians or the Ambazonian people, and sidelining and working with the regime in the cover-up in the name of an opposition leader, legitimizing the regime colonization in Amazonia. I mean, every time, even when the people wanted to step up or stand out to fight, Frundi was the one that always came back and halt it or stop it, stop people from taking action. And in the name of being the supposed leader of an opposition party, So I mean, the damage Frundi has done to the Amazonian people is, I mean, it's ridiculous. If we could start citing them here, it's just, I mean, I don't know even where we're going to start or where we're going to end. He was all there pretending, staying in our territory while working for the regime, and even when the struggle really escalated in the days of the consortium, he didn't even move, not even a little bit, to talk for the people. He still sat there with the regime, supported the regime in every way. And then very soon, after the regime declared war, he moved into the colonial capital. He migrated there to the colonial capital, and he thought that that was his home. That's his home. Like the president said, let him be buried there. Why do they bring him, or why do they want to bring him in Amazonia? He's not an Amazonian. He never stood for anything that will favor the Amazonian people. No. And also, in the aspect of, like some people are saying out there, that he started democracy. No, he did not. He was a representative of the regime in the effort of the regime trying to show the world that there's some form of democracy in La République du Cameroon. And he came out there, they have him out there as their representative in the name of an opposition party. He never started any democracy. The regime is the one that claimed to say they have democracy, of which there is none. There's no democracy there. All of the opposition party have some connection with the ruling party in La République du Cameroon. Is not, I mean, is it just one of the ministers of one of the opposition leaders in La République du Cameroon that have been named ministers there in their country? People like Bello Buba, they've been named ministers there in the colonial territory there. So I mean, He too is one of them. I don't even know why, for some reason, they never gave him that position of a minister. Maybe because he was going to come out really clear and obvious, But he worked significantly in line with the regime to make sure that the Amazonian people remain colonized by the colonial regime, and the killings that are going on. He's the one enabling all of. He's one of those. He's not the only one. He's one of those, because all of those parliamentarians, all of those supposed elites that are sitting down there that have run away, and the chiefs that have run away from their villages and they're staying in the colonial capital, they are the one enabling all the killings on the ground. And so let this one, like the president said, let this one be a lesson for all of those that are working with the regime, that this is whatever will happen with this John Frundi right now, cops, is what is going to happen with them as well. They might as well just bury him there in Yaoundé, if you were to ask me. That's the best thing they should do. And even the people of Bamenda should not even allow it. Not at all. He does not belong to the territory. If he wasn't staying there, but before he died, he ran away from the territory, he does not belong there and should not be accepted back to be buried in that territory. So, but again, the interim government is here. We are waxing stronger than anyone could have ever imagined, than Larry could have ever imagined. After how much billions and billions of dollars they have poured in to destroy this struggle, we are still winning. We are winning them. We are defeating Larry Cameroon. We are defeating the colonial regime and the colonial military. That's why they go out there in our territory killing innocent civilians. They cannot face the boys that are there defending their territory. They go and be killing innocent civilians. So, but we'll keep doing what we're doing at the level of this interim government, thanks to the great leadership of the president, and Larbridge Cameroon will be defeated fully. Thank you.
Yes, Barrister Tim. Frundi died a dancer, a very wonderful one. That was is it Esau's wife, one of the CPDM pundits' wife? They were doing some salsa there, and that's the level. He became an applauded dancer, and he had in his repertoire what he will say for himself, that he introduced multipartism in the Cameroons. Unfortunately, the president has just rubbished it this evening. And the president is saying that there is really nothing Frundi did. But we now have, after 1992, Cameroon having many parties, like 50 going in for presidential elections. But of all the parties, one person is winning. So don't you think, to some extent, Mr. Frundi should be credited with some semblance of multipartism within the Cameroons? That's you, Barrister Tim.
Is that for Barrister?
That's for Barrister.
Multipartyism is not what we want. That does not concern us. But I think the lesson we have to take home from this press interview is simply one: for Ambazonians who are not capable of retaining long sentences, take this quotation from the president. What did he say? He said, Mr. Nifrundi legitimized the oppressor over the oppressed. His ability and willingness to dance with all the women in our republic is just evidence that he had become part of them. What was not dancing with the woman in Barefoot, a woman from Bali, a woman from Manfred somewhere in Ambazonia? He had abandoned them. He had legitimized the oppressor over the oppressed. And I think we can all agree, call them Anglophones, call them Ambazonians, call them whatever thing you want to call. We are the oppressed. And Nifrundi legitimized the oppressor, that republic, over the oppressed. We did not declare war on them. They declared war on us. Frundi supported them until his death. So be it. Whatever thing they want to, there can be a monument for him if they want. That does not concern Ambazonia. What I would advise They're going back home because we have so many followers of ours who live in Bamanda, who live somewhere in Manfred, who live somewhere in Victoria, anywhere. They should understand the position why we think that this man is not worth celebrating anything. That's what is important to us. We're not going to give him credit for something that did not help us. Yes, he might have fought for democracy. As the president said, where is his democracy that he fought for in the Republic of Cameroon since 1992? He's dead. That's the truth. So let us go back home. Let us forget about this man. And again, insist on his followers, on his supporters. You do a better job by going to inter him in the slave master's compound, because that's where he deserves better rest. That's it. I don't have time to go on praising a man who have been recognized by us generally as an oppressor, as an agent of the oppressor. Yes, we can do that for him. What shall we tell Maapi, Florence Aya, from Ayafo, and all others who died for doing nothing wrong? So, let God judge and forgive him. If I were possibly a judge over him, he would die in hellfire. But I don't have the opportunity, and I don't have the right to do it. So as far as we're talking on a public discussion, we have no honors for him, no matter whatever thing he does. And because we are limited by time, I would prefer that we go to the next topic, because we can be here for days. I will not finish talking about him. The president answered a question, which was very brief. Dr. Mungwa asked him, people are being killed every day on the ground. And what does the IG to tell them? What does the IG to tell Ambazonians? The president responded that what you see going on at the home front, the Republic is recycling what they have been doing for the past 5-6 years. And once an opponent begins to recycle what they have done and failed, there's no sign of success. It is their choice to go after the cheap spots, the easier targets. They can kill a woman, they can kill a mother, they can kill a child going to school because they are armless. And so, they are recycling. I remember, I don't know how many of us had the opportunity, when we were in college, there was a novel called The Gun, or titled The Gun. It was published with respect to the Spanish Civil War. And this had people had this gun, very big gun, that crossed to go and blew up everybody who was opposed to Spain. And when they were coming back, when they were retreating after their defeat, they used the gun to burn down everything that was on their way. And finally, the gun didn't even cross the river to go back. So that's what the president said. Our listeners and followers should know what it is. Yes, killing people home every day, and it's a recycling of a failed strategy. It has succeeded. In 2017, when they promised 2 weeks, they will not be doing it again. They would have been doing reconstruction, which they claimed they could do. But 7 years into it, they can go back to Bamanda and kill more people in addition to Mama Api. They can go back to Pinyin and kill more people in addition to the ones they kill and put in the truck like cows. Therefore, have they succeeded? No, they are recycling their strategies for failure. Do they admit it? Yeah, they themselves know they have failed. If you follow them on different media, they know that they have failed. Nobody believes in their own word, and even in the word of their supporters, that declaring the war in 2017 was going to go beyond 2018. Nobody believed in 2018. Having gone and captured the head of this IG from Nigeria and imprisoned them for life, the thing was going to survive another 1 week. But that was 2018. But today, in 2023, the IG is stronger. The fight is more devastating on their part. So let people not be worried about the recycling and killing people.
Yeah,
don't think
I would even say this, Barrister Mbesa, that I started counting the victory of our endeavors from the day, from 2 weeks after the war started, because they told us that they will definitely crush us um, within 2 weeks. You know, they took 60 years or more than 50 years to disarm us. And they really knew that, hey, these guys, with a snap of a finger, will waste them. This is an instrumental thing. Today, you actually heard there's something very unique in the way the president speak. You see a leader who appreciates every effort, no matter how small, and then can galvanize the government to recognize when people do brave actions like what we've seen in Bui. I would say that Coopers affected everywhere and really did not affect Bui. We had Isubu dying, but Bui has never ever died down. And this is one of the last two things we'll talk about. We have less than 15 minutes to round up this post analysis about the draft commencing over the weekend, the 15, that is weekend after this. It's an amazing thing, Dr. Tita. We're looking forward to every Amazonian I know, even the good, the bad, and the ugly, except for those who do not want our freedom, finds the excitement to enhance Boy. Please, Dr. Tita, how instrumental is this for you? I know you've drafted the federal draft more than 2,000 US dollars already, and I am aware that you're beaming and beefing towards this day for Boy. How significant is it for Ambazonians to gather and make sure that what Bui is doing today? Think about Bui just doing 4 times what they are doing today. How come the losses that Cameroon will get? Please talk to
A
us.
lot. But please, before I get to that, Director Paddy, let me add to what Senior Barrister Tim was talking as far as
Yes,
the
please.
Laraburi killings that have been going on the ground. The president clearly stated it that is signs of frustrations that they are not winning. He said that very clearly. The president called on if the United Nations and other human rights organizations to send a fact-finding mission on the ground
Yeah.
to investigate these atrocities, and they should stop making up all these stories talking about atrocities are being committed on both sides. That's how you see most of those Radio Cameroon propaganda on the and on most of these their propaganda media. They're talking about atrocity being committed on both sides. There's atrocities being committed only by one side, and it's Radio Cameroon alone. Larabiju Cameroon is the one that is coming and is killing innocent people on the ground on a daily basis. They are the ones that are killing all the children, the females. They are the ones killing people because they are not part of them. They are the ones killing Ambazonians because Ambazonia is not part of them. Trying to conquer, as they conquer the Ambazonian people. That's where the atrocities are coming from, and not from the side of the boys that are defending themselves, the boys that are trying not to be killed by this colonial military. So I wanted to make this really emphasize on this fact that the president called on the United Nations and other human rights organizations to send a fact-finding mission on the ground. They need to really get serious and get their act together so that La Republique should be brought to the table and to be held accountable for all and liable for all of the killings that they have going on the ground. Over 30,000 of our people, innocent civilians, have been killed in this war. Over 5,000 of our people are being illegally detained. Over 1.2 million out of school. Over 2 million internally and externally displaced. La Republique du Cameroon must be held accountable for all of these crimes. And they should release our people with immediate effect, So, and like as the president said again, that all of these recent killings is going to meet, it's going to beget, that's his right word, it's going to beget a reaction to that. So that should be coming from the boys on the ground that are defending the territory. So let's just see.
Listen, the proportionate reaction that the president mentioned tonight is the biggest excitement I have, because I know when the president speaks, it happens. I like to always remind Amazonians, in 2018, during his maiden address, the president came and told Amazonians, after all the politicians and warlords have been ranting, have been briefed on this, he told Amazonians, listen, this is the era of self-defense. And so it was. It was like a spirit. He spoke into the air. Not recorded by this interim government, because I'm doing a research paper. A writer, a professor, I think his name is Alif now or something. I'll give the precise name. I'm going to look through it now and give the precise name. I have a chat with Professor Table. I'll just go through it and I'll see it. He mentioned less than 3 months after the president said so, close to 30,000 volunteers in Amazonia. They didn't even have guns, and they registered as the Amazonian Restoration Forces. It explains to us the importance of this draft coming on Saturday. Please cue in from there and hand over to Barrister Team, please.
Thank you again so much. It's very, very important about the draft that is coming up. We all know and we are all aware that Bui County has been a no-go zone for the colonial military. Bui County has a strategy that is super superior and like no other, that the military dares to even just go in there. And the Department of Finance and Resource Mobilization, in collaboration with the presidency, has put Bui County as the first county that should be drafting in this year's draft. That should be coming up, as the president said today, on Saturday, July 15th. We all need to come out and support Bui County. We need to come out and support Bui County very strongly, in a way that we've never done before, stronger than we did before, to make sure that they completely push the colonial military, colonial administrators, all completely out of Bui County. I think that the boys that we have on the ground there are up to the task, and they can do this job. What they need is our support. And so we definitely going to be out on Saturday, that's next Saturday, the 15th, Saturday, July 15th, to support Bui County and encourage all of the counties, every Southern Cameroonian, even in the diaspora. You need to come back. We are not on the losing side like a lot of people would have wanted us to be in 2022 with La République du Cameroon sponsored agents in the struggle. We have completely turned the coin, and we are on the winning side, and we're defeating La République du Cameroon in this thing. You come and let's finish this. Let's support Bui County, and let's finish this county draft this year, and we'll see how La République du Cameroon will not come back to that negotiation table. And the good thing is that all the sellouts, all of those that were in the struggle for personal interests, have been shifted out. And once they get to that negotiation table, there will be no other person that they can bribe with their money, because we have real patriots in this interim government that are standing for the liberation of Amazonia as an independent nation, which should be happening sooner than later. Thank you so much, Director Paddy.
Yeah, so I got the name of the person who wrote this paper in 2018, and this is even a propagandist. He is not really for the struggle. He calls us Anglophones. You had two people where you had Lamy, who wrote in 2001, but I want us to go right back. Barrister Tim, you comment on this. I'm sure you would have read some of their articles. You also had Mwako, who wrote in 2018. He actually records that after the arrest of Sako, a few months later on, we were recording on the ground. And when these propagandists write and tell you 20,000, they talked about 20,000 of separatists. They call them separatists, armed men, trying to defend their state in the two regions of Cameroon. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because of a fundamentals or an epic of tonight's conversation between Dr. Mungwa and President was when the President looked into the camera and told the world unwaveringly, unapologetically, Mr. President said there will be a proportionate response, and that every time we have responded, it has been calamity, and that Cameroon should wait for it. Master Tim, please.
Yes, Paddy, thank you once more. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time. Let me address one aspect of the president's intervention. He is addressing us, but above all, he's addressing the international community. And what did he say to the international community? He blamed the international reporters for underreporting our events. I gave examples. Ukraine is less than a year old, and see how the international community has reacted. They have indicted Putin at the ICC in less than 6 months. But we have an application line at the ICC for more than 2 years today. And nothing has happened. They did not indict Putin because Ukraine leaders did it. No. He was indicted because the international community, so call it, jointly saw that he was doing the wrong thing. But the president said, what has been done to Ukraine is less than a tenth of what has been done to Ambazonia. I call on the international community, especially the West, to remember that in 1961, the reasons why they refused us independence in the first place was that they were afraid that we would become a satellite state of Russia or the Eastern Bloc. That is the truth. But what did the president tell them? The president said, look, today, 2023, we're talking. The Russians are already there. They landed in Lagos. The Chinese are already there. They're already here. So America and the West, you have to choose your friends. And so the fear of Russia is no longer the issue. How you partner with these individual countries is what is at stake. How you partner with Ambazonia is what is at stake. We will not be able to force the ICC to take action on that case. We don't have that capacity. The last I checked on, in fact, when I called the ICC, it told me that it is written on their website. The case against Russia was sponsored by 43 independent countries. I would not forget that it's a political court. The Procurator General could not do anything. If all member states of the signatory to the Rome Treaty are calling on you to take action, you have to take action. So let them stop turning a blind eye to our issue. If they were turning a blind eye to our issue, so be it. They should know, as homework, that Russia that they fear very much in 1961 is already here. The Chinese, they did not even think about in 1961, are here, offering the alternative. And so, Ambazonia has the right to make their own choices. So the international community, the Americans who are hosting us, the British who sold us, the French who are manipulating us, should know they have come to the end of the tunnel. It is no longer 1961. You have to make your choices. You cannot avoid Russia. You can only partner with the people who want to help you. And Ambazonia is one. That's the message he sent to them, to the international community at large. I think that's what they should know. Thank you.
That was an amazing one there. Thank you very much. So this final aspect, which you just mentioned that we're talking on, I'll come back to you on that. I think I should start with you, Barisa Team, before going to Dr. Tita, because you are the one who cue us in, and that's what we'll be concluding. Dr. Mungwa, I don't know if he did so. I'm sure he didn't do so intentionally. If he had a second thought, perhaps he would have not done it, perhaps, but it was not something they were typically hiding. The president tactfully answered it because it's like our spirits Ambazonians wanted to know what's happening after or post CDN2. What is happening? And the president Well, it's not what the president said, but we have intelligence now that has been answered sparingly. The intelligence says that there has been some form of apology. It's interesting for us to know that I'm not just excited about the apology. I'm excited as an Amazonian because it's so interesting for us to know that the positions we take from a visionary leader are not necessarily wrong. Meaning that if we had just been carried by that mistake, the entire struggle would have been in a shamble. Because if there is an apology, like the president said, whether it was fake, it was real, whether the president accepted it or does not accept it, thank God we had a watchman and a visionary leader who is President Sako, and who told us that participating by any form was a bad idea. Barrister team, please. That will be our conclusion.
Permit me to say this. I don't care personally whether there was an apology or not. But before the apology thing came up, the president actually adequately addressed the so-called Canadian talks. He said, Canada or no Canada, Switzerland or no Switzerland, La République will not meet us as groups. They will meet a delegation of Amazonians under a government as contemplated in Resolution 16085. So as long as it's not the government, they will not meet us as a group, one of the several groups. And that's why it failed. And he said what? He said something again, that those who want to negotiate, which is going to fail, must first of all realize that when they want to negotiate, they should see a credible government of La Republic of Cameroon on the table. I've said this before. What is a credible government? That delegation must be led by someone who can commit the government of the Republic of Cameroon. Our delegation must be led by someone who has the power to commit the people of Amazonia. If you don't have these two elements established, you're wasting your time. For now, as far as we are concerned, we represent Amazonia. And we don't see the signals. As we did not see the signals, we did not go. I've said this before. The thing did not fail because we did not go. No. It failed because the people were not even serious. They didn't even know what they were doing. We didn't go there. We didn't prevent others from going.
I agree with you a lot, but I think that it did not fail. It failed because we did not go. And it also failed because you had a mixed multitude of Confucianists that Jomba Akuru was creating definitions that have never existed before. Thank you very much. I wish I could just allow you
let me just land there. I'm sorry. Let me just finish a point. You're right.
Yeah.
It failed because we did not go. The people sitting on the table were not the credible people who could commit Amazonia. And we now know, as a matter in writing, that they committed to call off the ghost towns, to make a ceasefire.
Wow.
And their first attempt was to send flyers to the ground. Oh, let us not have ghost town today. And it failed. They realized that they were negotiating with the wrong people. They were not going to end the war. And so it failed because we did not go. And we did not go because we had a different vision. What a grasp of what it is supposed to be. They did not have. Forget about the Mba Akuros and those other people. The saddest mistake they ever made themselves, well, I don't know how many groups were there, even on the so-called conference table, they were unable to agree right there that would represent Amazonia. Mba Akuro represented himself. Choyaba represented himself. And then the other group.
Say that statement again. Just say the statement again as your conclusion, that they were unable to agree that they represented Amazonia. So they would rather represent themselves than representing.
Because that's why you find them in their first reaction. In their first reaction, they were instead blaming the Canadian foreign minister for not describing them as Amazonians, instead of blaming themselves for not presenting their team as Amazonian team. And so it was something doomed to fail. I think the president has
Scandalous.
addressed that. For those who have eyes to see, for those who have ears to hear, and reason logically, if people can learn from their mistakes, they would have learned a lot. But since we're dealing with hardened criminals, I'm sorry to say that, so they will better go to hell than to apologize on earth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tita. Please just give me a few seconds. I have Ochiba Nelson here. He is going to speak and you conclude. Ochiba, please.
I really wanted to chime into what Senior Barrister said.
No, you have the floor. Let's make it spicy.
Let me talk. Let me talk. Let me talk on the line that Senior Barrister just came about the saddest mistake. I really want to make this clear to the Amazonian people to understand. And not only that, to Larbriju Cameroon, for them to understand that the saddest mistake that Larbriju Cameroon did was to withdraw from that Swiss process, and in believing the colonial prime minister and thinking that they can pay these sellouts in the struggle for them to destroy the struggle. That has cost Larbriju Cameroon dearly, paying fighters, paying these sellouts in the diaspora millions in the effort of trying to impose a 10-state decentralization in Cameroon, including Amazonia as part of their territory. That is the biggest mistake Larbriju Cameroon has ever made, because all of that money they paid these guys is gone. They can never get it back, and they have no choice but to come to that negotiation table. I will wait to come back in as far as those infiltrators are concerned. Let UN come in with his question, please, or his input. Thank you.
Briefly, we've already exceeded our time. Go ahead.
Yeah, Director, you hear me?
Very loud and clear.
Yeah, I thank you plenty, and I like what we want to talk for the with President and all the ABC people, all Amazonians where they there for home front and for diaspora. When I go for subscribe for ABC, because now for them when I would talk on one thing, me I always call for ABC because I be person where we can subscribe. If ABC die today, who say I will call? So when I get for camp, put hand for back for them. Yeah, I like what you Dr. Tita just talk now with the barrister, Bielsa talk, and I'm of the opinion say La Republique. When we hear the town hall, then we don't pass with them with the international town hall people, we accrue them and the rest. They did talk about some 3 years ago. They talk see. They go write the Swiss foreign secretary talks to President Sako and IG not represent them. That's almost the same time. When Capo Daniel they go call the talk to me president not go talk for United Nations or represented nations. Akoro talks in this. If they try everything in no work, they will join the Swiss talk. They go on top of the table, go fight, disrupt the white people for them. When I see the time where they go for the first Canadian retreat where they will go do them, they go for the Ayaba and they go to coach the Swiss people, they coach them with the intention say they will come run. The Swiss people should run them quiet. Now the British High Commissioner waiting for La Republique. They tell Ayaba say for the moment we wanna stand for here now only the Swiss talks where they on top table. Where Ayaba they rely with people that say they get US German-led talks, Norwegian professors and all those things. When that British High Commissioner will not tell and say now the Swiss talks there for table. Now from there you can see now Ayaba who come for up and they can't talk say the Swiss people and they don't call them. However, they want to see me they talk be multilateral, multinational, multi-this and what. So they see and say no man no they buy which way they talk. They understand and say the position for the internal government for the Swiss talks, they say they want me talk with a flag, with a government and everything. That is why they come now for see and say they enter now for come make that election. When they make the election, they talk say okay, Chris Marianta don't be president. The first time La Republique news organ they talk say Amazon again new president Marianta.
Ochiba, you remember that problem we get done just because of one to get President Sako that is show Marianta, but the same person we talk about Marianta show him deny for show Dr. Sako. You remember?
Exactly. Now they did that, director. Okay, you see now after they see and I say Marianta now woman. I know the talk said they minimize it.
Yeah.
You see, no be keep top secret. Now, when they come in, I can't change it now for book Chris and where they been at the original person where they work, where Bambino talk, where they catch people for Nigeria, they go Nigeria, they meet up for Somaliland with me, Bankwe, and all the rest. So when they don't put it, they just say, okay, now we don't really get the mantle. We don't get mantle like Republican Toss, we withdraw it for Swiss stock. Move, go now for Canada. Going to Canada like a barrister talk, forgot talk with Amazonian group leaders and with people that control fighters. That's why you see the TTA, all those groups that they go for it. So as the Roman negotiate with them, they talk, say, they sign secret deal, they say, we must stop fighting. You see, Capo Daniel and told they apologize for Pobia. I apologize for Pobia, say they don't fight again because they don't recognize Pobia. Now they wait when they put them for, for make sure say me la Republic for make sure say me not be inside agenda. So you don't talk with a group of with Amazonia. Now you go buy them like groups individuals. Then you can't talk outside they be there for Canada talk. Because if you be accessing they me say we don't talk with Amazonia. You know one talk to me they don't ever talk with Amazonia people. So when it fail for they bring again the referendum. Then they can't bring again the referendum. Now the firepower where Chris Allen promise is not there. $1 million donors is not there. All that thing, people they tell when I say Chris Allen say no be there for Canada. Now he says talk why they be there say don't propose for them. So they bring a referendum. They still come up go right for Cambodia. Go enter meeting for them with Cambodia for the talkies about DD Arrow Center. Now when Chris Allen brings some person for DD Arrow Center, you can't talk for his show whatsoever. Where is the firepower and all those things. So I like when I continue so for tell people, but me I tell one thing for you. Amazonia people wanna listen to me very well. When they talk say die not only be attributed to a person.
Yeah.
So big market be there like maybe Mache Mache Mbopi or
Mbopi Navodwala.
Yes, I recall a big market market for
Mokolo.
Yes, or they will be for months, or the other side, they will not close, they will not still enter again, you say they will not die. When they talk, say this, we will get with chieftaincy, we will get with all traditional this thing, and so they will not still exist again, they will not die. When they talk, say all that name. So La Republic is there as for kill us, for kill with Anglo-Saxon culture, for kill with villages, and for destroy everything. They will not stand up for fight today. There shall be nothing like Balikumba. There shall be nothing like Bali. There shall be nothing like Bafu. There shall be nothing like a Libya, Southwest or Northwest. So that way with people that get to stand up, we fight for.
And which way Ochiba they talk now, so not be hypothetical, because if you look even from the own plan politique, where we talk about 4-state federation, the objective is being of a neutralized way. They begin to take we for Bamenda merge and Western Union, change name them. Take people for Victoria, Fako, merge them with the Douala. Now, so that's it for end. Thank you, Ochiba. Just conclude.
Exactly. Now, the thing how they don't talk say this, so according to Cameroon Constitution, where it is now, so now Paris I know that one pass me, sir, and Dr. Tita. Cameroon Constitution talk how we now Pobia they do all to them. If you reorganize Cameroon.
Yeah.
That is a Pobia designer say he says will put a presidential decree and take Amazonia and La Republic to Cameroon and join them.
Yeah.
And why they can't out the issue where they will call and say culturalism and culturalism. So that they will don't say the people from Northwest they get the same cultural characteristics.
Yeah.
With Bamileke, the one for Southern Zone, they get that with the Douala, and the one for Iwondo them, they get them, then they notice that they did. That is where we are. That is where we are. The federalists are who are going to. They not practice federalism for for French territories. Some of the people and they stop. Me no can complain for you say war will end when.
Yeah.
War will end when you identify yourself as a Southern Cameroonian, as a country, a government, and to fight against La Republic.
Thank you.
And for this, that war will. Thank you plenty.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tita. You have 2 minutes, please.
Thank you so much, UN. I really like it when we're on the show and you get a call to give your input and give us some clarification as well. I want to talk to the Amazonian people. I mean, the president said it in his interview in regards to the phone conversation or the apparently intelligence and apology that was probably said in regards to, oh, maybe that was not the best option. I've not been preview to the intelligence in detail, but one thing I'm going to want to talk about to the Ambazonian people is the power of infiltrators. When they come in, they want to act, or they're going to come in and pretend and want to be like us, they support us, and all of a sudden they go and do something else that's supposed to be damaging, or in the effort of supporting the colonizer. And then if they don't succeed, they come back pretending and acting like, oh no, that was a mistake, and let's give them an option for them to come in and come back in. I want to make it very clear to all of these sellouts that are here in the diaspora, all of these enablers in the diaspora that are working for La République du Cameroon. They're sitting among us, sitting and pretending, gathering information, sending it to intelligence out. I want to make it very clear to them, there is no room in this interim government, there is no room in this struggle to let them back in. All what they have done to destroy this struggle, we have come to see it, and they will pay for it. So there's never going to be any room for them to come back in, because I know some of them have, a lot of them, when they go and cause this confusion out there, they come and say, oh, they're calling for a conference. There will not be any conference that this interim government will be a part of. So as they have chosen the side of the enemy, and let them just stay there and just side there with the enemy and wait and see how this interim government, thanks to the leadership of the president, His Excellency, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, would defeat La République du Cameroon, and Ambazonia will be free. I also want to let La République du Cameroon know that this interim government this struggle is not a try and error stuff that they're going to keep trying one thing or another, and not trying to, they know what they're supposed to do that is supposed to be correct. They don't do it. They keep trying playing all of these games with these people around, thinking that this interim government is going to give up for the fight of the freedom for the people of Ambazonia. It will never happen. Thanks to the leadership of the president, Dr. Sako, we will never give up in this struggle, and La République du Cameroon must come to that negotiation table. But I want the Ambazonian people to really point out or know these sellouts and these sellouts that are out there. These are people that have collected money and they're still talking out there. They have failed in their effort of implementing the 10-state decentralization program of La République du Cameroon. So they're still out there pretending and acting and talking that they are Ambazonian, or they are fighting for Ambazonia because they're from the territory while they're working with the enemy. I also want to talk to the supposed Southern Cameroonians that are down in the territory. We have learned from what John Frundi did in facilitating, in legitimizing La République du Cameroon colonialism in our territory. We strongly, in the strongest term, discourage any Southern Cameroonian to hold any political position in supposedly in either CPDM or SDF. That should be banned in the territory. As a matter of fact, you know, this will be my suggestion. This will be my suggestion to the cabinet for us to look into how we can go about stopping all of these La République du Cameroon. These guys are there on the ground claiming to be opposition leaders, facilitating or legitimizing La République du Cameroon atrocities there on the ground. Thank you so much, Director Paddy. It has been a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Dr. Mungwa. Thank you, Dr. Mungwa, for a great interview.
I think Dr. Mungwa has probably left. Thank you very much, Amazonians. See you next time. It was an amazing thing. Have a good and a beautiful.
The piece of cloth made in Ambazonia, a land brimming with history, courage, and the indomitable spirit of its people, a profound reflection of Ambazonia's collective identity and our unyielding struggle for freedom.
A full representation of who we are, what we are, the history, story, and the struggle. It's a piece of cloth you should have in your closet. It is woven into a rich tapestry of cultural heritage, traditions, and long-standing desire for self-determination, proudly adorned with unique patterns and symbolizes unity in the Ambazonian people.
The cloth's patterns and colors mirror the courage and hope that fueled their aspirations for a brighter future. Each thread represented a story of bravery, sacrifice, and the unwavering commitment to justice.
The piece of cloth, made in Ambazonia, became more than just a garment. It transformed into a symbol of a call for recognition, worn proudly by Ambazonians and their allies worldwide. It carried a message: we exist and we deserve to be heard. As long as the cloth adorns chests and shoulders, the spirit of Ambazonia lives on, and the hope for a free and united land remains alive. The piece of cloth, made in Ambazonia, a land